Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat podcast. It's episode number 81 today and we're discussing Alex Iwobi. More importantly, how Lampard has transformed Alex Iwobi. Of course, if you think back to not even a year ago now, when, who was the Everton manager? Was it like Benitez, that was it. Marco Silva before then. Ancelotti actually before then. They've had a lot of managers over the last few years. Alex Iwobi was simply just another bang average winger. But Frank Lampard has seen the potential in him, playing him in the midfield three, and he's had a really strong start to the year.
It's like watching the Nigerian Frank Lampard.
I mean, he has been superb so far. 10 games, 1 goal, 0.34 XG. I think it shows the confidence he has that, you know, he really shouldn't have got a goal yet. He's not been given many brilliant chances yet. He has picked up the goal. Obviously, it was that thundercracker, wasn't it, against Manchester United?
To be fair to Everton, they've played Chelsea, Liverpool, United, and Tottenham.
Yeah, they have indeed. And they've got Newcastle the night that this goes out, so it's going to get even tougher for them.
To be fair, so the position they're in, and for someone like Iwobi putting together the kind of statistics he has, you know, he's done very well. I'd probably say half of the games that he's played have been games that you'd expect Everton to lose.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so 3 goals so far this season. If you look at his whole Everton career before then, so 1 goal, 3 assists. So 3 assists in 10 games so far this season. If you look at his whole Everton career before then, this is just in the Premier League, 4 assists in 83 games.
But one thing I always look at assists, and I always say this when I look at assists, is so someone like Iwobi, his strikers have been Rondon.
Wow.
And now Mopé.
That's what I'm going to say. If you look at 19 to 21, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, they've had some good forwards, Everton have. Even Anthony Gordon was really, really strong last season. This year, it's been a mixture of Rondon and Mopé. And to pick up 3 assists in a team that hasn't scored many goals, it's a very strong campaign.
It's positives and negatives with having good strikers. For a goal-scoring midfielder like Iwobi, which he is now, is that goal-scoring, really, really good forwards, they'll get you assists, but they might take away some of the goals. I think that's what we're seeing.
I wouldn't profile Alex Iwobi, though, as a goal-scoring midfielder. He's been really putting in those hard yards. He puts in the big challenges. We haven't got his tackles and interceptions numbers up there, but I believe they're 2 per 90. 2 tackles and interceptions per 90.
I guess that's two big tackles.
Tackles. 2 tackles, 1. So that's 2 tackles or interceptions per 90, which is up there with like Tango and Dombele's breakout season at Lyon.
You look at his midfield who's in the midfield with, he doesn't need to do the intercepting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been a fantastic midfield 3. They've done really well so far. Him, Garner, and Onana. Exactly. It's even better when they bring Garner on. It's Garner, and Onana. But Iwobi has been the better player in that 3, I'd argue. I mean, he's done really, really well so far. If we compare even further back to his 100 games with Arsenal, 2015 to 2019, that's kind of the time span we have of his time at Arsenal. There is games before then, but Footmob doesn't have them on there.
That was probably the worst year to be at the Arsenal Football Club.
Arguably so.
End of the Wenger era, start of the Emery era, that was very short-lived. Before Arteta came in. 11 goals in 100 games there. 4 goals for Everton in 83. 1 goal in 10 under Lampard. But it's been a really good start to this season. If you look back a few years ago, even in a more advanced position, Iwobi was struggling to score. Now this season he's got a goal. I think that demonstrates the confidence which Lampard has kind of instilled into him. I mean, we've seen interviews describing how Iwobi proved he was one of the most fit players and could play middle midfield at Everton. I think it was Andros Townsend was talking about it. He was saying how in training he was always proving himself, but no manager wanted to give him a shot. Lampard listened to him though. Lampard gave him that chance. Didn't give Townsend that chance. He binned him off, but he gave Iwobi that chance, playing him in midfield, and it's working well. That's what Lampard does. He looks at players you look what he did at Chelsea. Mount, Abraham, Tomori. He brought them all through and he's given them careers. You know, Tammy Abraham now starting force in a big Italian side. Same for Tomori. And Mount's still at Chelsea, bossing it. Well,
and that's not even mentioning the likes of Billy Gilmore, who we gave decent minutes to. I mean, Tomori less, so I think he probably should have given more minutes there. You've not mentioned Reece James, who I'd argue has become the best right back in the world.
Pretty big one to forget about.
Since Lampard brought him through. But he's given the chance a lot of minutes.
I think he's done really well.
He
doesn't need to. He couldn't stay at Everton. I think the other reason why he's done so well this season is when you've got your Calvert-Lewin missing, your Richarlison's gone, your Gordon's getting suspended every week and diving and just being an idiot. You need someone to step up, and Iwobi has stepped up. I mean, 1 goal, 3 assists doesn't seem like stepping up, but for an Everton side that has struggled a lot...
I was say, I think that's about all that Everton have done this season is 4 goals.
And we know that the big thing for Everton is their defensive strength.
Yeah, and if we look at the average ratings for his whole career, I think that gives a good idea of how well they've performed across the board. You can look at goals and assists and just speculate about that, but a 6.73 at Arsenal, a 6.67 at Everton, a 7.47 so far this season. By far and away his best season.
Phenomenal.
Really, really strong showings this year. Hopefully he continues this throughout the year. I was even considering putting him in my fantasy team.
Yeah.
So...
Because even like the stats,
well.
obviously show the difference of how well he's done across the years. But if you just watch him play, he looks like a different player. He doesn't look like the Alex Iwobi that got 1 go on the left wing every year at Arsenal and just had an absolute shitter.
Well, I mean, as the stats say there, not 1 go, 100 goes.
100 goes, and he only scored 11 of them.
Yeah, it wasn't very prolific before. I think the midfield suits him a lot more. He's able to just bring the ball down, spray it about. That's what he's good at. He's also very good at driving that ball forward. I think it's what Everton need. Someone that will pick that ball up and drive it forward. Because Gordon's a little bit too high up the pitch to do that. Yeah. I'd say, he's good at that. He's good at dribbling. But he's too high up the pitch to collect that ball. So, yeah, Iwobi's done really, really well in that role. And considering he's got Garner and Onana alongside him, who can do more of the dirty work, it allows Iwobi a little bit more free roam. But yeah, he's been a star in an Everton side that have been incredibly impressive. Shall we look at some of their games this season, some of their results? Of course, Everton are somewhere mid-table in the Premier League, aren't they?
I mean, they've had a good season, to be fair, so I agree with what Andros Townsend said.
Currently 14th in the league. If you told me last season, almost relegated this Everton side was, and they've lost, I'd argue their best 2 players.
That's what Townsend was playing.
Calvert-Lewin through injury and Richarlison has left.
Said last Saturday on the Tottenham broadcast is that relegation battle was the best thing to happen to Everton in a long time. Yeah, so I think it's given some players a wake-up call. It's given some players a chance to shine and give their team, and surviving a relegation. It's like you watch. I'll always remember the clip where Roy Keane was taking the mick out of the Aston Villa players for celebrating the fact of staying in the Premier League. But what that does for confidence as a team, for Everton, they fought so hard until the very end. It was only decided on the final game week. They had to fight up to the very end in that battle, and they came out on top. That would be a massive confidence boost for everyone.
Yeah, of course. So Everton currently 14th in the Premier League, 10 points from 10 games. It's hardly the most stunning start ever, don't get me wrong. But it's very, very solid for a team that most people thought would be well in that relegation.
10 games in, where would 3 points put them, for example?
Well, if they won a game, they could see themselves as high as 10th, maybe 9th, potential more goal difference there.
Very nice.
Yeah, but equally, you can look at the flip there, and they are only 5 points ahead of bottom of the league, Forest and Leicester. They're only 3 points off the relegation zone. Sorry, less than that, they're 2 points off the relegation zone. But, yeah, it's been a really strong showing so far. I'm impressed by Everton. And a lot of people questioned Frank Lampard. Is Everton a relegation battle with a team that don't really look like they're up for fighting? Is that the perfect role for him? But I think he's done really, really well with what he's been given. I think he'll continue to do well.
I think everyone judged Lampard on his Chelsea era. I think you go back to what he did with Derby was phenomenal as well.
Even Chelsea, he did really well considering the restrictions.
He was the right man. He is the right man for when your club's in a tough situation. You haven't got much to work with. He managed to make it work. Chelsea, he was the perfect man for when we had the transfer embargo and we had to use the youth. But then going onwards, when we wanted to win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and Cups, he isn't the right man.
He's really good at developing talent, so it'll be interesting to see whether he can take that next step with Everton. Because I think his recruitment with Chelsea was really good, but I think that's mainly Marina. If you look at the recruitment with Everton, I was very impressed. I think Neil Maupay, he's not a perfect Richarlison replacement.
They needed a finisher. For when Cullen's not there, he's probably going to stick it in.
They needed a striker. Idrissa Gueye on loan is a fantastic... Is it a permanent?
I think they brought him back.
All right, even better addition then. Yeah. James Garner is a good young talent. Who else? Dwight McNeil, of course, joined from Burnley. That's a big one. Amadou Onana, big pull of a young talent there. And you've got to remember, Abdoulaye Doucouré still plays for this Everton team, and he's not been around to play for him just yet.
Cody was
I was going to say, Connor Cody on loan and James Kwiatkowski on a free. Two big deals there.
I feel Cody at the end of the season, because I think Wolves, depending on what Wolves are doing, really, they could go down.
Yeah, I was going to say Wolves have been worse. Yeah. Wolves are one of the sides that invested the most in the last few years.
Was Michaelenko this year?
I know, Michaelenko was already at the club when Lampard joined, as was players like Nathan Patterson, but he has been giving them chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, recently Seamus Coleman's been back in the side, which was a throwback. Yes, Nathan Patterson is injured. That's what I was about to get on to. Patterson, though, was getting the majority of the minutes in the start of the campaign. He looked really, really solid. And yeah, before the United and Tottenham games, they hadn't lost for quite a while. I think it was Villa, the only game other than that they'd lost. So, quite impressive so far from Everton. Anything else you think we should touch on before we round it off?
I think Everton will end up third on the table. I think they'll get top.
You reckon? Well, if you look at the teams ahead of them, I think Fulham and Bournemouth should sit behind.
That is just like Bournemouth. What an absolute... incredible. And they are
equally 3 points. If Bournemouth lose this midweek to Southampton and Everton beat Newcastle, which both of those seem unlikely.
But Bournemouth, from the situation they're in, I did see, since they lost 9-0 to Liverpool, they are the only team that hasn't lost a game. And when they lose to Liverpool, game week 5, game 6, since Gary O'Neill hasn't lost a game as Bournemouth manager. If that man does not get a permanent job,
that is fairly impressive, has to be said. But yeah, one more thing to touch on, of course. When this goes out, Everton will be facing Newcastle tonight. So if you want to see our prediction for that, head to yesterday's video. Premier League predictions went out yesterday. Go and check that out.
I do think, though...
Did either of us go for an Iwobi goal?
I don't think... No, I do not remember. But one thing in the Premier League is every game matters at the moment. I know there's so many teams that are so up and down in form.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Brentford are so up and down. Fulham are up and down. West Ham are up and down. Bournemouth are flying. Liverpool, absolute crap, and they beat Man City. I have no clue what's going on anymore, to be honest.
It's a pretty mental Premier League season. It makes it incredibly hard to call what's going on. It makes it incredibly hard to predict. That's why the games are very, very interesting.
One man has done well.
I was going to say, Iwobi, very, very good. But yeah, if you're watching this on the Wednesday when it comes out, make sure to join us live tonight on YouTube. We're covering the United-Tottenham game, so join us there. We'll also be talking about potentially Alex Iwobi if he scores a goal. So hopefully that happens. But
make sure to be there if you're an
Alex Iwobi. That would be topical and good. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. In terms of other stuff coming out this week, obviously we've got live stream. Then of course tomorrow we don't have anything, but Friday Prem predictions, Saturday FPL, more Premier League this weekend. Fully in the swing of it now. Only though 5 more game weeks until the World Cup, which Alex Iwobi won't be headed to. Nigeria aren't going. Could that give him a perfect chance though? To just work with Lampard for 4 weeks.
Even more, yeah. Him and Lampard. That sounds like him and Lampard just go for a part with a kick about.
Yeah, they are. Just no one else. Well, everyone else is going to be on internationals other than Nathan Patterson. Because Scotland aren't going. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you all very much for watching or listening. Make sure to get involved in the comments down below if you're on YouTube. What you think about Alex Iwobi's season so far. I know we have a couple of Everton fans getting involved sometimes. So yeah, tell us what you think of him. Tell us what you think of your season as a whole. And if you're on Spotify, make sure to head on over to YouTube. Get involved in the comments. If you're on YouTube and want to listen to us on audio-based platform, I think we're on most of them. I know we're on Google Podcasts and Spotify. We're not on Apple, unfortunately, to all those Apple users. Yes. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.